there's a lot of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am cricket that people can really enjoy in a short space of time. And then there's a lot of people who sit back and say, well, hang on, this is really not cricket.
I think not just the pitches, even the grounds, the outfield is so slow. That's why you are saying this World Cup, usually 2020 is like, power score is 150, 160.
You're probably not seeing that so much.
Yes.
And you're right, you're seeing a lot of sub 100 inning scores. And then that India-Pakistan match of only 110, 113 playing each other.
The score was 110, but the spectators were engrossed into it right till the last ball that was balled in the ground. Coming back to the jacket, thank you so much. I feel privileged to be wearing a jacket
I want it back,
with number of legends who have already signed on that.
And with some more exciting games behind us, so we can get your expert analysis and views on that too.
Super.
Good day, everyone. My name is Navneet Anand from aajKal. Our medium, your message. T20 ICC World Cup happening in US June 2024, and we have got Simon Taufel back in the studio.
Nice to see you, Nav.
Saurabh, Anand,
Thank you.
Sunil, Gautam, me Navneet Anand. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Great to be here. Always happy to talk cricket.
We touched about the T20 phenomena last year as well. Why, in your view, T20 has emerged up this week?
Well, look, if I go right back, funny anecdote. 2007, we had our first T20 World Cup in South Africa. And actually, in that World Cup was the first time I actually officiated a T20 match. Now, there's various theories and views about who invented T20 cricket. I think probably the Poms would like to say they invented it, and then Cricket Australia and other home boards really took it up as a form of the game. But I think one of the things that it's really done for our sport is it's brought more fans to the game, particularly women, particularly youngsters, that really like that shorter format. Being a time-poor society that we are today, there's a lot of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am cricket that people can really enjoy in a short space of time. And then there's a lot of people who sit back and say, well, hang on, this is really not cricket. It's more about luck, and we might talk about some of those results and some of those upsets a bit later on, but it really does narrow the field, and it really is a game of chance. But back in 2007, I started my T20 World Cup journey in that format. But it's a great thing to bring new fans and new spectators and new countries, let's be honest, new countries into the sport.
As you said, the youngsters, it's more like watching a reel rather than watching the full video as well.
Quite like, absolutely. So, obviously a few matches have taken place in this World Cup, and the trend seems to be quite clear about the kind of pitches that we have. But I've always wondered, do batsmen find it harder to come to terms with the slower pitch as against a fast one?
A little bit, but they're really looking for consistency. A bit like umpiring, we're looking for consistency of bounce. Yeah. And once we can trust the bounce, then we can really have confidence to play our shots. I've actually umpired a Grand Prairie in Dallas, Texas last season with the Major League Cricket tournament, and that's happening straight after the World Cup. I'll be going there for season 2 and looking forward to it. They've been blessed to have a couple of curators from Adelaide who have worked on those pitches and strips for a couple of years. And the pace and bounce in those strips is fantastic. And they're not drop-ins, they're just pure cricket pitches. And it plays fantastically well. The other venue that we play is Morrisville in North Carolina, which is sort of like a premier cricket ground, not really suited to international cricket, but it gets by. But then when you've got a situation in New York where they've got a drop-in pitch and they've grown it basically in Florida, they've cut it in half, transported it, essentially played no cricket on it up until the start of this World Cup. That does make it hard for the batters. It makes it particularly easy for the bowlers because there's no responsibility there. Makes it really hard for the wicket keepers. So when there's inconsistency of bounce, So yeah, look, I think it's a great spectacle to take cricket to New York, but the quality of the product is really important, and that's where the consistency of bounce and carry is so vital.
It's not only the New York pitch. I think when it rains, it makes it worse.
Oh yes,
Yes.
definitely.
I think not just the pitches, even the grounds, the outfield is so slow. That's why you are saying this World Cup, usually 2020 is like, power score is 150, 160. This one, the teams are even struggling to get 130, barring Australia-England game where Australia scored 200.
Yeah.
But the pitch was totally different. It was in West Indies.
And don't forget too, you make a really good point. Don't forget too, in T20 cricket, we want to see lots of boundaries. We want to see lots of
Yes.
sixes, and that needs for the batters to be able to trust their shots.
Yes.
You're probably not seeing that so much.
Yes.
And you're right, you're seeing a lot of sub 100 inning scores, and then that India-Pakistan match of only 110, 113 playing each other.
Even like perfectly timed shots are only going for doubles or maybe triples,
Yeah.
So they have, like, the batsmen have to work more harder this time than the bowlers. So it is favoring the bowlers this World Cup so far.
Yeah, particularly in New York, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, for
New
sure.
York and Dallas.
Mm. Talking about the shift of the new spectators coming in to watch the game as well, I think they are more in there for the fours and sixes to enjoy it. So they are more there to make more noises out of it. But this time the noises are missing in this particular World Cup.
Well, I think you can look at that and say, well, yeah, there is probably some lesser boundaries happening there and some of that excitement. But I think you balance that with the excitement of taking cricket to America, and particularly a World Cup to America, where you've got, around 20 of the best cricketing countries in the world playing in the USA's backyard. And you've got so many expats and diaspora who live and work now in the US. And what I experienced last year in Major League Cricket was they were so excited to see cricketers in the flesh.
Yeah.
And they were so grateful to see cricket being played in the US. So I think there's a lot of excitement that's being drawn upon to balance maybe some of those.
Talking about the US and Canada team, if you see, it's more of the subcontinent players.
Exactly.
People of subcontinent origin playing for those teams.
Exactly. Those who have played a fair bit of cricket in their home country and now have moved, and they're pretty decent players.
Especially one player in US who played for India under 19 World Cup, and now he's representing USA. So
Corey Anderson is there.
And single-handedly won the match against Pakistan.
Well, I think if you look at the USA side, you might say it's Pakistan B team.
Yeah.
Maybe.
True. Coming to our most likely winner, the Aussie side, packed with all-rounders, and so far they seem to be doing just fine. And people like Mitch Marsh and all, they can take the pitch and the bounce out of the equation if they're having a good.
Yeah, a little bit, but don't forget too, they're starting their campaign in the West Indies.
Yeah.
So a lot more traditional cricket venues, a lot more familiarity with the conditions that they're used to and that they can adapt to. And that's part of the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
But I think what we've seen so far in this World Cup is the closeness of competition. We've seen some upset results. So USA over Pakistan, for example, Scotland playing really well. But there are some really close matches, and I think that's really good for cricket. And what I'm really pleased to see in this T20 World Cup is 20 sides.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to see a breadth of competition that actually allows the game to grow a bit more and for people to connect more with the game.
You did mention that last time we were having the World
That's
Cup
right.
Mm.
That he would love to have more teams, more
Even in
sides.
the one-day World Cup, there should be more team. Yeah. Okay, so 2020 is very fast-paced. This World Cup is a bit different. Do you think this, I'm talking about umpires, does this add any extra pressure on umpires? Saying the game evolved so much where every ball is getting hit for fours and sixes. Now this one is a bit slow. So do you have to prepare differently with different pitches and conditions?
Not a preparation. It's a good question. And what I'd like the viewers to think about, if it's really challenging for the batters, it's really challenging for the umpires.
Yes.
So if the batters are having to grind and the ball's a bit up and down and, variable pace and bounce, then it's challenging for the umpires. You feel like you're in the game every ball.
Yeah.
Where you might only have a couple of appeals in a normal T20 match on a really good strip. When you've got those types of conditions, you feel like you're in the game every delivery. And really, from my perspective, that's a great position to be because you can't just sort of sit back and fall into that trap of spectating. You've actually got to participate every ball. And I think that's a really good thing for an umpire because you don't fall into that complacency zone But do you prepare any differently? Not really, because your job's there to umpire every ball, but you do have to work a bit harder, and you have to be there every delivery.
And I'm talking about the India-Pakistan match. What I see is, you said it so right, the score was 110, but the spectators were engrossed into it right till the last ball that was balled in the ground. Looking at Rishabh Pant coming back from his injury from that accident was excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, well, look, I think one of those sayings that we sometimes hear that, form is temporary, class is permanent.
Yes.
But you've got some really classy players in both of those teams. And I think when you've got an iconic matchup between India and Pakistan, like Australia playing England, they're iconic clashes. And it just builds that hype where there's a lot of expectation, there's a lot of rivalry at stake. And it really engages the fans on a social media perspective. They're all trying to beat their chest and saying, well, who's going to win and what about this and what about that? And the social media posts that I've been seeing about the Pakistan players in general has been quite interesting. The heroes 1 minute and their villains the next.
Yes, that's true.
They're copying it big time right now. Given the fact that obviously this was a planned tournament taking place in US and West Indies, and you have traveled to the US and you are doing that again soon, do you think Americans will ever develop a taste for cricket?
My view on that is a really fascinating question. My view on that is for cricket to really be entrenched within the US, we somehow need to get it into schools. We somehow need to get it into the American culture. I'm not sure the Americans are quite ready for that yet, but you've got to start somewhere. Now, Nav, you've got a jacket on, which I'm going to refer to now, because this is a jacket from the 2015 Warren Tendulkar All-Star Series. Now, it's really the first time we took cricket to America, where we played 3 exhibition games, 30 of the world's best cricketers. Now, we've got obviously Shane Warne and Sachin Tendulkar on that jacket, Glenn McGrath, Matthew Hayden, Andrew Simons, Jacques Callis, Sean Pollock, Brenda Sewag, Shoaib Akhtar, Curtly Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, the list goes on.
Oh, wow.
So an amazing advertisement for the game.
Right.
What was really popular about that series was 35,000 people in 3 stadiums, New York, LA, Houston.
Wow.
But also, too, we had fan engagement dinners, which were packed out, sold out. Because people want to get close to their heroes. They want to get close to the cricketers, and they want to feel that. Back to your question then around, will cricket be entrenched within the US? Look, I think it already is to a certain extent because you've got so many expats. You've got so many people that have moved from the subcontinent or cricket-based countries who want to play cricket in the US or want to see cricket in the US. Will it get into mainstream? That's a long way off. That's a long way off because you've got NFL, baseball, basketball, which are entrenched. And is there really room for another major sport to come in and take that market? But what I will say is that if Major League Cricket continues in its trajectory, so proof of concept last year, playing 25 matches in July, and I know they want to expand to 8 teams next year and play in 3 venues, not 2. It's a start, and you've got to get that momentum going, and the World Cup's another vehicle to do that too.
Coming back to the jacket, thank you so much. I feel privileged to be wearing a jacket
I want it back,
with number of legends who have already signed on that. Thank you so much, Simon.
Okay.
We just talked about US entering the game of cricket. Probably the day is not far when we say China jumping in as well.
I think they're probably a bit far off in terms of that because they really don't have a membership base to build from. Like at least the USA is an associate member. It's got West Indies in its backyard as well to help them and facilitate stuff. So I'm not quite sure China's going to get there. And wouldn't it be interesting to see China and US play?
So there'll be like Australia, England, India, Pakistan,
Nobody's
US, China.
Nobody's mentioned Russia yet.
So I know it's too early to predict, but if whatever matches we have seen so far, most of the teams have played 2 matches so far. Like Australia is leading their table, India is leading their table, USA is not far. I know it won't be easy for them to go till the end. And then Afghanistan playing so good. South Africa have won their 3 matches. So you reckon it will be like your typical top 4, or we can see some upset this time?
I think I'm expecting to see a few more upsets. I'm expecting as conditions do vary between location, as they get a bit more to the pointy end, I think you'll see probably 4 or 6 sides that you'd expect to see.
Yeah.
But I still think there'll be a couple more upsets, which is great for cricket. Once you sort of make that Super 8 round, then it's about luck. It's about chance.
It's knockout, yeah.
And it's really about just being there on the day and actually the bounce of the ball going your way a bit.
Yeah.
So I think really what they're trying to do now is to focus on the combinations for the conditions. And if they can get that settled reasonably, then it's a matter of whether you turn up on the day and whether you're good enough on the day.
Yeah.
Saman, last year when we were discussing the 50-over World Cup, you mentioned in our last function that obviously a lot of it is played here, the win thing. And I couldn't help feeling that in the India-Pakistan game, when they were actually down to a runner ball with like 8 wickets in hand, and they just froze. They didn't even get out. They failed to score.
Yeah, I'm pleased you mentioned the mental aspect of what we're going through now, because don't forget too, a lot of these players have come off 2 months of IPL, particularly in the big sides, particularly in the full member country sides.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mental fatigue at play here. 2 months of IPL, straight into a World Cup, and then more cricket still happening around.
Yeah.
So I think staying fresh, staying focused, caring but not caring that much is really, really important to play freely. Now, T20 cricket is about risk, it's about luck, it's about chance. But it's also about bravery. It's about taking calculated risks and, as I said before, caring but not caring that much. And as a batter, you want to be able to back yourself. And that's why I found it a little bit interesting that Australia didn't pick, say, a Fraser McGurk.
Yeah.
Someone who's just young and who doesn't really care too much, who's just going out there and hitting the ball really strongly. But that's the type of cricket that you want to play, but that's the type of mentality that you need to apply. So that mental fatigue aspect, I'm really interested to see how India particularly respond to that. Australia, same, a lot of key players who have played 2 months of IPL going into this World Cup. How are they going to be able to play the last couple of weeks?
I think too much of cricket being played all around the globe at the moment. They don't get a time to unwind themselves. As you said, focus.
Have a different focus.
The game happening in USA and West Indies, the pitch conditions are going to be very, very different in those two countries, 100%.
Yep.
How do you think the transitioning will happen from the players who played in US and would be moving to West Indies to play? Australia coming in West Indies to start with would make a difference to them.
Oh, and that's part of the beauty of a World Cup is adapting and adjusting really, really quickly, because you don't have time to lose a game and get used to the conditions. But I think also the other challenge that a lot of the sides are having to come to terms with is the travel, is the logistics. And I've heard stories where teams have been delayed. They haven't been staying at a hotel close to the venue. They've had to cancel some of their training sessions. And so that upsets the team routine, the team balance around preparation. And just that mindset, touching on what you said before, that mental aspect, that mindset, we're all okay. It's all right, And I think that's where the coaching staff have got a real job on their hands, and the senior players, to say, you know what, let's just roll with the punches. Let's just take it as it comes. Let's just back ourselves and really just try to dial that pressure down a little bit. And that's why I think it's going to be fascinating to see how the West Indies shape up at the back end of this tournament with the hometown expectation that we want our team to win. And how do they respond to that?
That's their forte now. They are very far behind in one-day cricket and test cricket now. So 2020 is their forte. So they will be willing to, they want to perform so that the cricket keeps growing in West Indies.
For sure.
Final words from you, Sunil.
Well, this is the start of our campaign for this World Cup, and we hope to see more of you, Simon,
Inshallah.
in weeks to come, and with some more exciting games behind us, so we can get your expert analysis and views on that too.
Super.
Definitely. And then one more thing, one last question to you. Do you think India and Australia missed a trick? India by opening with Virat Kohli instead of Jaiswal, and Australia, Fraser McGurk instead of David Warner?
Well, I think I've touched on Fraser McGurk already. For me, he's the future, and I'd like to see those guys coming as quickly as possible. And it sort of leads me to that point around your question around Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
I think the best batters have got to face as many deliveries as they can.
But he should be number 3, isn't it? That's his position in all the formats.
Well, if you lose the wicket off the first ball, he's already in.
Yeah.
So
But like this game is all about youngsters. We should
Yeah.
promote them.
yeah, it is. But I mean, Virat's the type of player too who's an attacking, dominant type of player too. So I think that's quite imposing on a bowling attack too.
Yeah.
When you see a guy like Virat come to the crease opening the batting, you can toss a coin. There's a for and against argument. There's not too much in that. But I'd like to see as many of the top order, really superstar, big hitter players face as many balls as they can.
Hello. Before I wrap up, I'll come back to the same thing that we were about to discuss, the upsets that you said we'll be talking about.
Mm.
What were those?
Well, I think everyone was over the moon about America beating Pakistan.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was quite special, for sure.
And even Afghanistan beating New Zealand. They bundled out them for 75. They were only chasing 150 odd. So there's a lot of upsets already happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
And I
it will be interesting.
I think Afghanistan are a team to watch.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
In these conditions, I really do. Their spinners, particularly, and their batters. Watch
Even
out.
Bangladesh, they fought pretty well against South Africa last night.
Yeah.
So they only lost by a few runs.
It's true.
It is, I think, lower the score, the tighter the game.
Tighter it gets.
It's more interesting. If you score 250, other team bundle out for 150. There's not much into it, but the lower the score, better it is.
Mm.
Look, it's just the beginning and many more matches to come, and we would be gathering more and more often. And this time, probably we would be traveling to Simon rather than doing it in the
Why
studio. Why not? We have
Like Simon
self-invited
says.
ourselves. We have self-invited ourselves to visit Simon.
Bring the jacket back.
Bring
It'll
the
be,
jacket
be all right.
Look, thank you so much, Saurabh, Simon, and Sunil. My name is Navneet Anand, signing out for World Cup Gup Shup, ICC T24, for Voice aajKal, our medium, your message. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you.
Voice aajKal, our medium, your message.
VG Times. Be with the times.